It is very noble that companies like big tech companies are introducing services that are supposed to help you to use their services less. But of course, we are not that naive, are we? If they could choose those companies, then they prefer for all of us to stay on screens and their platforms as much as possible. But they can't show that they are too selfish, right? Because we complain so much lately about being on our screens and those platforms that they have to say something, they have to do something. So it's like instead of telling us, you know what, we understand, we're going to make changes from our side. No, they just say, here are a few features, like here you can see how long you're using our platforms. So it is up to you if you want to stop using our platform for now, or if you want to keep going, but at least we're trying to help you out to become more mindful of your use, right? So although that is very noble and nice, but we know they want to monetize our eyeballs. So they're not really going to pressure us into become aware and mindful of our screen time. So it's up to us. It's up to us because they have a dominant agenda, right? So that's why it's necessary for us to have a conscious plan about how we deal with those platforms and screens, because if not, our consciousness will just be blended with their dominant agenda without us knowing it. And then we still think that we operate from free will when we use those platforms, which is not the case, because they know how to steer us into certain directions. They know how to make us stay for 5 minutes longer, then again additional 5 minutes longer, then for 10 minutes longer, then 5 minutes longer. So we think we act out of free will, but we're just being programmed without even noticing. So it's vital that we make our own conscious plan in terms of how to deal with those platforms and with those devices. We used to say back in the day, BRB, be right back. If you had to go to the toilet, if you had to go outside, we would just say BRB, like in MSN Messenger a long time ago in early 2000, where there were no phones, or at least we could not use our phones to interact with one another except for SMS messages or for making phone calls. That's it. So we don't say BRB anymore. It's always with us. And we have to be very mindful of the fact that our brains like rewards. So because the phone is always with us and because of those dopamine hits, we quickly want to go for our phone when we're bored, when there's a moment where we're just not really conscious of what we're doing. We're bored or we're doing some task that we don't really like, and we want to escape that moment, that discomfort, and then our brain is like, you know what, our phone is always there to cheer us up. There's some reward to be found. So you see, there are all these happenings going on, these events going on, because those companies are hiring neurologists, psychiatrists, just for the sake of us spending as much time as possible on those platforms, right? They are hijacking our brains. They are really carefully looking how to make us stay on those platforms and screens as much as possible. So of course, yes, then they say, here's a service or two that will help you to be mindful of how much you use our services. So just to show the users that we're doing something, we're thinking of you, we're thinking about, we care about you, we think of your health, and we want for you to stay mentally stable. But still, here are like thousands of tricks and nudges for you to stay on our platforms as much as possible. So don't rely on tech to solve this problem of digital addiction, because you will only end up being disappointed. So get educated and stay mindful.